So now we're going to jump to civil unions. We've got several questions on this. We're going to combine two, which essentially are asking where you stand on this issue. This one first from Heathen07 that says, do you support equal rights under the law and fair treatment for lesbians and gays, including access to marriage or something of the equivalent? And specifically from Mike, he wants to know if you will be supporting the Civil Unions Bill, HB 444, this next session. So maybe
for the first question, there's no question. I support civil rights, and I do support equal treatment of all. Whether, and I think in this particular case, HB 444 was talking about civil unions, and I support civil unions, and I've made that very clear. HB 444, which is presently in the Senate right now on our floor, technically, is in an amended form, which we had actually discussed with many of the advocates, and it is their version. I am of the belief that there's probably sufficient support if the indication is the vote on the second reading on that bill, that bill does have the support of the members to go out. I think that there's a misperception about what happened in the Senate on HB 444. I know one of the other people who wrote, and as I saw some of your questions, is they said, well, how come we said that the votes were there and it wasn't there? And a lot of it is because I don't personally go out and count. We have members of leadership that do that, and the representation made to me and others was that the votes were there. The Senate is a dynamic process. We have 25 very independent individuals, and I will tell you what was going on with the Senate was a desire to look at options and just ask for the vote to be delayed until people who had ideas could then explore it. And that's why the first time it didn't get pulled out of committee was because people had the agreement made, or many believed that there was agreement made, that they would be able to explore the various possibilities. And after having that opportunity, and if the bill was as proposed to the Senate, then so be it. But this is something that when we talk about the dynamics of a body with 25 different minds, it does change. And for us, the Senate majority is 23, but even among us, we have differing opinions.
It's a very emotional issue. I think the question you were referring to earlier came from M. Eliza, and just to add to the previous question, her question after discussing HB 444 says, as you have already explained, what happened to the votes, but also, what do you have to say to the majority regarding your leadership role in what happened? I guess she's trying to figure out if there's anything you would have done differently. And do you think this will come up again this session?
Well, it will definitely come up again. There's no question in my mind that this will come up again. Matter of fact, the chair of the Judiciary Committee is deciding how to proceed right now on an interim work group or an interim task force or whatever, and how to address that. Because we do know, senators are very well aware, especially majority senators, that there needs to be a healing and there needs to be that conversation, and we need to do that. And the question about whether or how we would do it differently, I think what we needed to recognize was that people did not understand our process and the quote, the support of the chair and what the chair decides or doesn't decide, or how the committee reacts. And some people also didn't understand, I think, that it's a 2-year process. So a lot of times bills like this that have a lot of controversy and a lot of emotions may take a while to get through. But in this particular case, I think we're probably going to address it this upcoming session.
Okay, and then Mike follows up to his question that says, then why did we not get your support at all last session? So can he then expect to see?
That's not true that he didn't get my support. And
Sorry, Mike.
I did not vote for the yank, because if you look at the way I vote, I always support the chair of my committees. And that's one of the things. Someone made a comment when we did the Kulani prison and the ag inspector, that actually one of my staffers said, it seems like you missed that role, is being able to advocate and being able to sit in charge of a committee. Because remember, I sat as Judiciary Chair for 4 years, and Water, Land, and Hawaiian Affairs for 2 before that. it is a matter of our process. And if you look at the votes on the actual amendment of the bill and the voting for it in the second reading, that those were affirmative votes. And that's our process. And, you may not agree with our process, but it is our process. And it's that process that makes me also believe that it will be up this session.
Somehow I think you'll see Mike at the Capitol this
Yes.
Okay, we're going to move on to